today? Hope you're all having a lovely day. So I was sat here doing finishing my sort of 6-way swap. I'd say nearly finished. I've got 3 fabric pages left to do. I'm just finishing my paper ones up, so within the next 2 days they will be finished. And then I realised I haven't actually filmed this, so that I thought nobody knows I've done it. So what this was a part of the 6-way swap, as some of you may know. And for the 6-way swap, I'm just getting the paper version on it. For the 6-way swap, there were 6 ladies. Mary was the leader. She organised all this. So Mary, if you're watching, hi. She organised this wonderful swap, and 6 of us joined, so Mary included. There was myself, there was Debbie Brown, Lynn Noakes, Lynn Bentley, and myself. Oh, and Josephine did it as well. So my last 2 sort of swaps, I can give you a little teaser, is with Lynn Bentley, who is Alice in Wonderland, and Mary, who I think said vintage sewing. So Mary, if you haven't said vintage sewing, please let me know. I'm sure you said vintage, but I'm sure it was vintage sewing, because I remember you doing mine and said it was similar to how you were going to do yours. I think. I'm hoping you've said vintage sewing. So I'll give you a little teaser to what those pages are starting to look like at the end. But until they are finished, obviously I can't show you. However, I can show you this. So this was the paper one. And for the paper one, I did the paper one a while back. Just to give you a rough guess, that comes out, it then opened out. I put loads of ephemera this side, loads of ephemera that side. I then opened it up that way. This popped out. There was dried petals involved, a lot of stamping, and then I put some greaseproof paper. This slides in and out, and all these are dried flowers. So that's what I did for the paper version. The story on the front, my inspiration for the paper was Beatrix Potter, because I'd never done a Woodland themed journal before, so I had to sort of have something in mind in order to do it. And I know Debbie's had to pull out for family reasons. However, I still wanted to complete my pages for her. So if you'd like to see the paper version, it is on my videos scattered somewhere. I will try and leave the link to me showing this particular paper one in the description bar. So if you haven't seen it, go and pop it over, and then I will go into a lot more detail than I am tonight. So this is the fabric version. Now for the fabric version, I didn't have anything specifically in mind. Some of it I did on live, and I only did what you're seeing now on live, but then I finished it off afterwards. So I'll start with what we got on the front. So what I decided for the Woodland one was literally flowered fabric, dried petals. I was thinking, when I go out with the dogs, what do I see, that kind of thing. So that is where my inspiration came from, because otherwise I would have just got completely stuck again. So down the side is a variety of different flowered fabrics I've got, all like different sari colours and sari silk colours and silk colours. I also did some embroidery work in green and black. The reason I chose black was because I was just thinking of the ground. I could have done it in brown, but because of the fabrics I've used, I don't think the brown would have come up. So this one down here, it is like a leaf pattern, but because I've done like a little small zigzag stitch next to it, it looks as if it's like a little diamond one. So I've done that and I've done that. This did open, and I have backed it with some paper, so the idea was that this was going to open, but as I was doing it, I was sewing these pages to the next page, and I was thinking that doesn't work. So this is more or less something by the side. So how I created this. So all this is greaseproof paper, tracing paper, and I pressed some flowers in it, and on the front I put flowers I picked and pressed that I had on a walk when walking the dog at our local park. Should have dated it really, but I forgot. So Debbie, I hope you really do like this, and I know you've had to pull out, like I say, but I really wanted to continue doing this for you, because I just wanted to continue doing it for you. So I did all that. This was some brown tulle that I had of Sophie's Shabby Chic Corner. I think she's called that, Sophie's Shabby Chic Corner, which I haven't seen her channel pop up on my newsfeed for a while, and I know YouTube is playing about with my notifications. So Sophie, sweetheart, if you're watching, hi. I'm gonna pop on over to your channel tonight and binge watch some videos. But no, this was some tulle that Sophie sent me back. It must have been about a year. It's got to be about a year ago, and I love the orange and the browns. I've tea dyed some paper underneath, so the little dots that I've got on is actually I dry them on a pizza tray and I put them in the oven, and that's how I've created the dots. In fact, let me just share with you. This is what the papers would have looked like. So there's that one. These are just some I've done about a day or so ago, and these are going to be turned into something mysterious and magical. So keep watching for that, because I'm really looking forward to doing this. And it's not for me, it's for someone else. Oh, I'm so looking forward. So I did a lot of writing space, even though these are fabric pages. I wanted to give Debbie a lot of writing space, because I know she collects flowers with her grandchildren. So, and she was telling me this. I didn't have any idea, because in the paper page in here, I put some greaseproof. No, this isn't greaseproof. This is plastic bag. I put some plastic bag in, and I have attached somewhere, and I can't remember where I've put it, but I have attached some dried petals, and I basically said, Debbie, is there for you to dry your own petals if you wanted to? And she left a lovely comment, and I was so thrilled to pieces underneath that video, saying how when she goes out for walks, she picks petals up, which I didn't have a clue about. So I made one of these fabric photo frames. I'm going to come back on and show you how I've created this, because this was so much fun to do, and so easy to do. None of the fabrics, I haven't pieced any of the fabrics together. They look really quick and easy, and you know, they look as if they've been pieced together. They're not. It's one big fabric, and I will come back and show you how I've created that. And in the center is laminated sheets that I've laminated, and I've put some dried flowers in there. So it's a fabric photo frame. Again, with this tool, it's the same tool I hooked over on one of the pages, and that's what it looked like. And that is sort of the bottom of this. So this opens up, and then this side, now I don't know how long this will stay there, but I'm hoping it'll be long enough for Debbie to be seen. So with each page, I sewed 2 pieces of fabric together, and I sort of went back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth until I got my hinge, because otherwise I would be sewing on each page, which I didn't. I done some stamping. It is old school type of writing, but it does look a bit blurry, but I wasn't bothered again by that. Then I have attached a lavender stem, if you will, with some, it's not called tacky tape, washi tape. Like I say, I don't know how long it'll last. I'm hoping that it will last until Debbie sees it, I'm hoping. But I've attached that, and like I say, it's a bit delicate, but I know Debbie will love it. So my next page is this. Bearing in mind, I love working with the fabric. If you know me at all, I absolutely like coming up with things with my fabric, and just recently I've learned to paint with fabric is called thread painting. So what I did here, a couple of things. I made my own fabric out of scraps, which I did a couple of lives ago, and I was so excited to show everybody that you might hear, if you haven't watched the live, you might hear me squeal and go, oh, I can't wait to show you, because it was one of those projects that I just couldn't wait to show someone. So I made my own fabric for the back setting. I attached a little leaf charm at the bottom. This is again tool that Sophie sent me that was in my drawer and I was hoarding, has been hoarding for a year. Now these aren't what I've made, and I recently sorted my room out, so you would think I would know where they were. They were by the side of me, but now I can't see them, so obviously I've moved them. But what they were was felted pieces. Now Janet sent me them in my ephemera swap, so you'll find them on what they looked like originally before I sewed them. I thought they were such a clever idea. I have some, like I say, I have some scattered somewhere. They are in a bag somewhere, I say somewhere. And I'm going to try and make my own because they are so, I found it so inspiring. Then I had to add them, and because this theme was woodland, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to add them. The flower here is my own fabric and then cut circles and made my own flower. I've also made like my own silk flower here. Again, I've done some more thread painting. Each piece here you see behind like the leaves and the flowers, and those are like little not tulips, what am I on about, like little bulbs. I've cut out individually. I've ironed on, heat and bond, and then I've stitched it on. And that's how I've done that. So let me show you what I've got inside. So some of the pieces I'm going to leave for a bit of surprise for Debbie. So as you can see, all this is my own fabric I created, and I was so chuffed. There are a few bits and pieces in there. I'm just trying to think if I put anything. I've made things like these, which is just a piece of paper. This is, what is this? I'm trying to think. Wax paper, and I've literally just sewn lines. Now the lines are sewn to the piece of paper first, and then I sewed this on top. So I've made things like these because with this flower that I bought from Shilpa, it just matched in. And I'm trying to think without going in because I don't want to spoil it all for Debbie. No, there's some bits and pieces in there that Debbie will know what they are. So this, again, I made on live. It's a folder. It starts off a bit like this. This was my folder that I was trying to do before I did this one, and I had the tabs up the top, but they were in the same place, so it looks as if you've got one tab. Now you can move the second tab to whatever you want, and I had started sewing the flowered fabric on and embroidered it and everything, and that's what it basically looks like when it's plain. This was cut out on card. I haven't really done a template for this or like a video or anything, only because I think to myself sometimes when I'm creating something, oh, you've all seen it, you won't want to see me again doing it. And I was showing somebody this, and they went, Claire, have you done a video on that? I went, no. They said, you've got to do a video on it. I was like, really? So I'm going to come back and show you how I do my folders, because I seem to forget that you haven't seen me do it. You might have seen other people do it, but not me. So a piece of fabric, like I've explained, and some embroidered stitches. I've done some embroidered stitches up here. This is all stamped. Now this green is a leaf. What I've done with this green is I sprayed the leaf green, spearmint I think it's called, and I used the watercolour spray. Let me just get one to show you. This is the burgundy one. So what they are, they're watercolour spray with shimmer and glimmer mist effect. They're about £2.90, so they're a lot cheaper than cosmetic sprays. I love cosmetic sprays, don't get me wrong, but I just find them so expensive. Now, I bought these about 8 months ago, and I've still got the collection that I bought. They last for ages because they're watercolour as well. I find I don't tend to need a lot to get the colour that I want from the spray, if that makes any sort of sense in what I'm saying. So say I spray something, I tend to find that I don't need a lot of spray to get the colour. With cosmetic spray, I'm finding I'm having to pump it at least 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 times sometimes to get the spray out. With this, it's one spray and it's done your colours there, and I think that's why it's lasted me as long as it has done. But that's just personally my preference. You might have different preference, but that's personally my preference. So I've a dried leaf again, and I stuck this on with glue, and then I went over it, I think, in clear nail varnish, so that it does feel like a dried leaf, but it's not going to come off. I'll stamp the back as well when you open it up, as it is. Now, none of this is straight. It's not supposed to be. I went for, like, if you were out in the woods and you were collecting things, you're not going to sit there when you're out somewhere and make sure everything's straight. So this isn't as straight inside as it does on the outside. So I've made a little collage here, lots of different pictures, lots of different fabrics, some sari silk, some fabrics, and I've put it on some handmade brown paper. I've inked around the edges with green distress ink and black. This lifts up again, like I say, it's not straight at all. And then I've done the same again with the print of the leaf to put it down. So Debbie, sweetheart, you've got loads of writing space, because that's what I'm bearing in mind with anything like this that I'm creating. I love making tags and pockets and stuff, but I just, in the back of my mind, for me, a journal not only has to have pockets and tucks and whatever else, but it has to have somewhere where you can write. So I wanted to make it so that Debbie had a lot of writing space, and I know from reading the comments she left that she does collect flowers with her grandchildren in the park, so I know that writing space would be important to her as well. Again, with a hinge, it's just a piece of fabric, and I've embroidered it on instead of done a straight stitch, but you could do a straight stitch and go with that. This side, again, it's more fabrics and laces and all sorts. I've stitched this on. This is packaging from a bag that I had from Morrison's supermarket. The reason I'm giggling is because I'm picking up loads of them, and when I get to the till, the tillers will say, do you want me to put them back for you? And I'll go, oh, no, don't bother. It's because I want to take them home, just cut them up and make use of them. So I've captured some flowers in there, and at the bottom in pencil it says, flowers I picked up from my local park. This comes over, and let me just share with you, there's a pocket just sitting there. So some of the things I've put in, there isn't any ephemera or anything like that, only because I wanted, again, to have Debbie to have like a pocket or something where nothing was in there, where she can add it in on her own. This came from one of the books I bought from my local charity shop, and I just made use of it, really, cut the page out. I've added some laces and some sari silk ribbons, and then this folds over, open and shut. So that then pops into that. So that is that pocket. This pocket, this came out of. This is a little envelope. Again, it's an open envelope, so I haven't stuck any of it down. So as you can see, it's pages one side, again pages from a gardener's book, Woodland, and I put wax paper on top, and then I stitched all the way around and then in the middle so that it would fold. And I've also trapped some flowers each side, so made sure that there was a flower each side. They should move. The bottom ones do at a nudge, but the top one doesn't because it's quite a thick flower. And then what I did then was I made my own stamps, as in stamps. So what these are made out of are, you know, those foam stamps. Let me try and see if I can find one. They're these. So you would use these ideally for cards. Then the top I've printed on wax paper instead of printing on card, and it comes out like almost like transparent, and then I've stuck that then on there to make my own stamp. So that I did in the same live as I made my own fabric. So I'll show you the transparent now. It's in here. So the transparent paper looks a bit like this when it's all finished and done with. It looks a bit like this when it gets printed out. And these I had from the lovely Artie Mays. She's got free printables on her website, and I will pop her link in the description bar below as well, because she does amazing papers, and I used her papers to create this exactly. So for this one I've done a little pocket here, which I did make some stamps. I don't know where I've put them. Might have to make some more, but let me just quickly share with you. There's a pocket just there. It's not deep at all, but there is a pocket there. I have created more stamps than these, but they've obviously gone walkabouts, so I'll make some more. Again, some fabrics I've stitched, made like these two little hearts, what do you call them, embellishments to hang. No particular reason, nothing to do with Woodland of course, but I just wanted them to hang. Some appliques and fabrics and sari silk, and again one of those stamps that I've created with some paper that I've sort of ruffled up on the machine as I was doing it. So this opens out. Now I did print this out. This isn't the same piece, although it does look like it. No, this isn't the same piece of wax paper. This one on top has got some lines going the other way, and because of the lines on this, it looks as if it's like graph paper because of the way I've done it. But that's not intentional. It's because if it prints like that with the lines going horizontal. So what I did was I cut a piece out and then I stuck it on top to make graph paper on top of that. So that's what that is. And that pops in there, and it did come out. And then the last page, so these all my fabric that I've created. I was debating on whether to put something down here, and I've been debating, and that's most probably what the hold up was on me uploading this video. But then I thought if I did that, Debbie's not going to be able to see the fabric that I've created, because that's what I've created as much as anything else. So it sort of left it blank and left it as is so Debbie can see it. So the fourth page is this page. So this page was, I've done a real pretty stitch down the side. Can you see by what I mean by that leaf stitch? Now that is the same stitch on the front on the fabric, because like I say, if I did the straight stitch it would look like a bit like a diamond shape. I've put some green fabric behind. I then sewed these fabric flowers that I had off Janet, and I will make my own. I'm determined to make them my own because they are so simple to do, look so simple to do, and yet so effective. And for Woodland, I couldn't have asked for any better. So Janet timed that perfectly right. Right, so inside we have a variety of different things. So I'm just going to bring out the couple of things that I have created. And this. So, and I got this as well. This is just something from one of my paper pads. I've just popped that in there. So the couple of things I've created is this. First of all, this is on laminate. I've captured some flowers in there and some tea-dyed music paper, and I thought that was really Woodland. And originally I did it, and then I thought, well, what am I going to make it into? So that's why it's like that, because I thought Debbie could add like what could she add to it? She could add a paper clip and attach it that way, whatever. So this is the wax paper, and can you see what I mean by the lines? They go on horizontal even, and if you go like that, it makes you have graph paper. So I put a strip of that in for her to write on. I thought it was so pretty that I had to pop that in. I made another one of these envelopes, open again like the last one, only this time I've trapped some flowers in, and I stitched some crazy stitching with some lined paper from a notebook up on the top, and I've created one of my stamps. My stamps have got walkies because I did create some more stamps for her. This is handmade paper. I have stamped on it, and it's been tea dyed. Again, I didn't want to do much to it because it would leave writing space for Debbie. And one of the things I wanted to put in, a while ago, me and Rian went to a place called St. Fagans. And while I was there, I spotted this, and immediately Rian said, "You've picked that up for your journal that you're making." And I said, yeah. So what this is I can't remember what they call it. Is it a no, it's not hologram. It's I can't think what the word is, but basically it makes the birds move. And I thought, how cool would that be to have in a Woodland journal? So it is a bookmark. That's where you saw the black little tassel, and I just thought that would be so cool to pop into a Woodland journal. So that is my Woodland journals pages. So there's my fabric and there's my paper. I do apologise for this being late. At the beginning of the video, I did say I would give you all a sneak peek at what yet is to come. So my sneak peek is Alice in Wonderland. I'm making this for the lovely Lynn Bentley. So Lynn, if you're watching, hi sweetheart. This is all you're allowed to see, by the way. I've got one last page to do on this, and then I'm done up, and I can film it for you to be able to see. So there's my Alice in Wonderland, and my sneak peek, Mary, if you are watching, is my sewing. So this is my sewing, and I'm not showing you any of the ephemera. I just wanted to quickly share with you what is to come up in my coming videos. So I'll be doing these on 2 separate videos, but yes, this is my sewing and this is my Alice in Wonderland. And there is a bit of a thing going on with Alice at the moment. I can't reveal any more, though, to be able to show you. But those are my sneak peeks. I've got one last page on each of them to do, and then I'm on my fabric pages for both. And I've also got my fabric page for the lovely Josephine to finish, which was Shabby Chic, because I was totally baffled and stuck with that. But I sort of know where I'm going with that one. I've just got to put my ideas down onto pen and paper, which is sometimes can be difficult. But anyway, I thought I'd show you my sneak peeks of these. So those are my pages. I do hope, Debbie sweetheart, I know that you're not doing videos at the moment, but I do hope that when you do receive your pages, not only will you love everyone else's, but you'll love mine. I do hope that you will love mine, and I will catch up with you all in my next video. Have a lovely rest of the week wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now. Bye.